Very good afternoon. So today we will start with the unit 2, that is VLSI circuit design process. So in this we will be studying about the VLSI design flow and MOS layers and stick diagrams, the design rules of the stick diagram and the layout, and then we will be designing some circuits, that is CMOS inverter and any logic gates, and then we will discuss about the scaling of the MOSFET circuit. So before I go into details of this VLSI design flow, first let me tell you about the MOS transistor, how it has been came into this existence. Like as in the previous videos, I have said you like metal oxide semiconductor field effect transistor, where this will control the current. I mean, means gate will control the current flow in the device that we have discussed. But why, how, means like as per the what this all came into existence like with the help of the Moore's law. So what is this Moore's law? When we talk about this Moore's law, it is something that for every 18 months, the number of the transistors need to be doubled on an IC. Okay, that means what? Suppose if I am placing, if I am placing here, if I am placing a 20 to 30 transistors, by 18 months that 30 transistor need to be doubled. That means a 60 transistor will be incorporated on an IC. So this is on a printed or any printed circuit board, not on IC, on a printed circuit board. Because if I'm taking a 1 centimeter, 1 centimeter of a die, if I'm taking, then on that I need to every 18 months the count of the transistors need to be increased. This is what the from this Moore's law had given this information about how we increase the count of the transistor on a printed circuit board. So when the first IC design was sorry, the first IC design, yes, the first IC design was fabricated, or if I can say, was introduced by scientist Kilby in 1975, and that was the first IC where he have introduced. And later on, we came to know that we have started increasing the count of the transistor. So one of the major part here is that when the count of the transistor is getting increased, one thing the designer need to understand, the design engineer need to understand that what is the size of the transistor, because here the major important part, if I'm increasing the count, then I need to know even the size of the transistor. So in order to understand the size of the transistors, uh, initially it was from 360 nanometer, then it got down to 180, then 90, then 45, then 30, like that it start, the size of the transistor got reduced. As because the size of the transistor as it got reduced, therefore we are increasing the number of transistors on the PCB. So then we say that if okay, now we said that we need to incorporate the transistors as the sized transistors need to be incorporated. So when I'm sizing a transistor, what are the major factors or various parameters that are involving or that are involved in the damage of the device, that also we need to understand. Because if I am, suppose if I have a 180 nanometer transistor where I am giving at least a 2 volt of supply, the same if I again made, or if I scaled it, then how much, so here what we did, as we have reduced the size of the transistor, now I need to know what are the various parameters that is affecting the size, that also I need to go through. So therefore now we have observed that from the various literature, it has been said that as the size of the transistor got reduced, there are various leakage currents. that will be introduced in the device if the transistor got scaled. So what are those various what do you call, what are the various leakage currents that we need to understand? One is threshold voltage roll off, and DIBL, drain induced barrier lowering, and the gate induced drain leakage. These are the, we have six leakage current leakage currents exist as the size of the transistor, if as we scale the size of the transistor. So these are various leakage currents. So we will be studying about this leakage currents, and also we will be studying about the challenges about this leakages, and how we can overcome this leakage currents, that also we will go through. Before I talk about this limitations for the scalings and the challenges, first we'll just discuss about the VLSI design of approach to IC. Okay, so VLSI design flow is something that we will be having the front end as well as the back end. Okay, up to here, it covers and it says that it is a front end design. Okay, front end design, and these all will come into the back end design. So first, in order to, the flow is something designed in such a way that the from the specifications, that means what need to be given for the design, and how I need to develop the chip. That means from the specifications to the chip development. Okay, chip fabrication and how I develop a chip, that we will be studying in the VLSI design flow. So as we know, VLSI design flow, it is a very large scale integration, and we were talking about the flow, how from the basic, from the front end, from the basic of from the basics of the specifications to the chip development, that flow we will be going through. So first is foremost step in this design flow is that system specification. Suppose if I want to design any system, then obviously we need to know the specification. The specifications also we will be taking from the customer point of view, and then the system will get designed. So in that way, first we will collect all the specification. Suppose if I am designing some electronic gadget, some gadget if I am trying to develop, then obviously suppose a mobile phone, then I need to consider its the power supply, the battery, the sound system, and the touchpad or keypad. Okay, these all what I need to gather for the specifications in order to develop a system. Then after that I have a specifications, then the designer should know how the system will look, means the complete architecture of the system what you want to design, right? So here we took a specifications, and then we are trying to accommodate in order to form a architecture of that particular system. Then later we have a block like functional design and the logical design. In this what we do is like, we will now, after having this architectural design whatever we have, we will now write we will write a software code to that. Software means a coding. With the help of this coding we will say like its functionality is this, or its logic operation is this, or it is behaving in this way. That means we are trying to write we are trying to code its behavior of that particular architecture. Okay, that means I have a specifications, then I have a design with that specification with the complete architecture of that system. Then I am trying to incorporate a logic structure, means I need to know the logic structure. In order to know that logic structure, I will be writing some code, that is RTL, transfer level. Okay, RTL we say. And then finally what I do, I convert this logical means I convert this code into structure. Okay, code into some design. That means this code is now directly converting it into the circuit design. Okay, so here I got some functional things, the functional design, as well as here I have a logical design. So here we converted this completely RTL code into the circuit design by incorporating its logic into that code. Okay, so if you may have a question here, what sort of codes we can use here? Because we are writing a functionality and the logic of that particular architecture. So in order to write a code, we will be using either a codes like Verilog, VHDL or programming. So that means here the complete gate netlist. Okay, the code is now converted into the circuit, and here we will get the netlist of that architecture. Okay, that is what we will be we will be doing it in this circuit design. And then the physical design. Physical design, here sometimes what we do, we also do a synthesis portion. Synthesis part also will include in this. Synthesis means what? Here we are trying to convert this code into the gate level. Okay, that synthesis we are trying to do here. In the physical design, we have various portions like partition, floor planning, placement, clock tree synthesis, then signal routing, timing closures, etc. Like these all are including in the physical design, and we say that it is a backend design, right? First, in the physical design, we do a partitioning. See, suppose if we are building an house, so obviously we will be deciding like where should be the drawing room, where should be the kitchen, like that. So the same way in this circuit, in this architecture things, we will now put all the low power circuits, that we will put it aside. Then all the registers at one side, all the flip flops at one side. That means we are partitioning which type of circuits need to be placed in the uh, in that chip. In that chip means what? Because ultimately we are trying to design a chip here, right? Finally our outcome is something, a chip. So taking 1 centimeter to 1 centimeter or any die, okay, any die, we are I mean within that small size, what we do a partitioning. And in that partitioning, what we do, we will try to put it like low power circuits at one side, the registers, the adders, the subtractors or multipliers, like we will be arranging it and partitioning it at the required places in the chip. Then now we do a floor planning. Floor planning is nothing but we might be taking some small like what you call interconnections or where what need to be placed, like that. Okay, and then okay, in this floor planning, one more part is involved, that is like determining the locations, the shapes, the size of the modules in a chip. All those we will determine, and it also estimates the area, the size, the delay, and the writing congestion, and thereby providing a groundwork for the layout. So the actual, if we define into the floor plan, how it is determined, the floor plan means we will say like the location, shape, size, and the modules in the chip, and also we will estimate the chip area, size, and what delays and writing congestions. All this we will be including it in the floor plan. Then coming to the placement, in the placement, the problem sorry, placement is the problem of automatically assigning correct positions, okay, correct positions to pre-designed cells on the chip with no overlapping, such that the sum objective functions is optimized. The major, if we can define what the placement would be, the placement is something that it is a problem that automatically it assigns and it corrects the portions to pre-designed cells in that chip, such that it will find like no overlaps and no objections. And these are like a few means it determines a few objective functions that need to be optimized. So that will come into the placement. Then next is like clock tree synthesis. In this clock tree synthesis, we include some buffers, some inverters, okay, and also some. Generally, the clock tree synthesis is nothing like a process of inserting buffers, inverters along the clock paths of an ASIC design to balance the clock delay to all the clock inputs. So what we are doing, we are in this clock synthesis, what we are trying to do is that we will add some buffers and also we add some inverters, and we are trying to look that whether this clock tree synthesis is balancing the clock delays that even at the clock inputs and the outputs in the ASIC design. That means intentionally we are adding few things and we are trying whether this clock synthesis can be properly balancing the design or not, that we will be observing in the clock tree synthesis. And in order to balance this, okay, we say that still it is balancing. So suppose if we want to balance it, what things need to be done, such as like skew and minimizing uh, insertions delays in clock tree synthesis is performed. Okay, in order to balance the skew, a minimum insertion delay of clock tree synthesis is performed in this. Okay, so next is like a signal routing. Generally, routing is nothing but here we have two types of routing. One is the global routing and another one is the detailed routing. Global routing is nothing but it gives a random what do you call it? The random interconnection, if I can say like random interconnection. But when it comes to the detailed routing, up to how much the length the the interconnects need to be connected to the circuits, the details of the interconnections will be given in this signal routing. So next is something like we have a timing closures. So finally, we also provide some timing analysis to that, and we do again a physical verification. If suppose if these all is suppose if this all is proper, if this goes in so now in this physical verification in physical design, the partitioning, floor planning, placement, clock tree synthesis, signal routing, and timing closures, these all will come into the backend. So in this physical design, from the starting, what we did, we took a specifications of the design and then we made the design into the architectural approach. And from the architecture, we have made it to we have made that complete architecture in order to work as I mean saying its functionality as well as the logic of that architecture, and then that complete architecture we made it in the code form, and then this code is now converted into the circuit design, which we say as a gate level net list. Okay, gate level or net list we say. And then after that we went for the back end design. In the back end design we have a physical design where we do a partitioning of where what need to be included, such as the circuits, the low power or high voltages circuits, all that we do partitioning, and then we do floor planning of that. And then after that we make it here the placement, such as what here the placement is something that here we take some size, location, shape of that in the floor planning, and then in the placement we automatically means placement is the problem of automatically assigning and correct positions of the pre-designed cells, and then on the chip with no overlapping, such that some objectives will get function is optimized. That is in the placement. And then we for the clock tree synthesis we introduce some registers or buffers, saying that whether even after adding these all buffers and registers, even the clock delay whatever we are providing, that it is working properly. Then the signal routing, this routing we have a global as well as a detail, where we mostly use the detail routing, and then we include some timing closures. So this is about the physical design, and then the final is after the physical design, we do a physical verification. So in this physical verification, We will go through all this, whether all it is working in a proper manner or not, and then we do a physical verification and sign off. Sign off, what it does is like it checks whether the layout, the designed layout works as we designed, as we means what you call, the layout means till here we are designing a layout. So this layout we will compare it with the design. Compare means what, we will try to observe whether it is working as we designed the architecture. Okay, and then we verify it whether the given layout satisfies the design rules provided by the fabrication unit. Okay, that it comes into the sign off. And finally, what we do here, we are fabricating it, the complete architecture, and then we go for the packing and testing. And as in previous classes, we said like packing could be something like different manner. So the final, after packing, we go for design for test. Okay, DFT, design for test. If the after packing also the results after packing also we see if the design is working as like in the before, then we say that the testing has been I mean properly the testing is approved, and then we go for a chip chip approval. Okay, this is all about the VLSI design flow. So next we'll study about the stick diagram. In this stick diagram, before that, as we studied in the fabrication process, we have studied like we have a P substrate, then we introduce a P well into that. Then after that we have P diffusion, N diffusions in the both P substrate and as well as N well, and then we have given a gate oxide, right? Gate oxide or insulated layer like with the SiO2 layer. We have grown over the device, and then on top of that we again only at the selected portion we have introduced a sorry, polysilicon for the gate, and like that this is the process where we actually did for the fabrication, right? So next is something that in order to I mean, what is the stick diagram? So we before going to the stick diagram, we should know what is stick diagram. The VLSI design aims to translate circuit concepts onto the silicon. So what we are doing, generally the VLSI design will do a circuit, complete circuit into the silicon substrate. Okay, generally the stick diagram means it is representing topography of and layer information by using a simple diagrams. Okay, that means we are actually capturing some topography and layer information using some simple diagrams. And this what it does, it simply conveys the layer information through color codes. How we are representing? We are representing these stick diagram with the help of a color coding. So here it is given as like green, red, blue, like this green like stick encoding monochrome, and for the end diffusion, a green is used for the end diffusion, and red is used for the polysilicon for the gate, and blue is used for the metal one for the metals. Okay, then this black is something like contact cut, and then implant, then buried oxide, and like that something we have. If I want to go for mask layout, and that is also represented here. Okay, so here we have few things like if I'm using some metal, what things I need to do. So this is for the metal, this is for the polysilicon, this red, and N diffusion, P diffusions. We can also draw in the shapes also, and for the buried oxide and the contact cut. In this form of representation, we are supposed to draw the stick diagram. So stick diagrams is a VLSI design aimed to translate circuit concepts onto the silicon, the first point. Second is that the stick diagrams are means of capturing a topography and layer information using a simple diagram. That's true. And therefore, the stick diagrams or the convey layer information through color codes or monochrome encoding. And this acts as an interface between symbolic circuits and the actual layout, right? This acts as an interface between the symbolic circuits and the actual layout. So what it does like shows all components vias. It gives the complete detail of the circuit, and it shows a relative placement of the component and one step closer to the layout. And means if someone wants to design a layout, this will be easy for them if they know the stick diagram, and for them it is easy to draw the layout. Okay, one step closer to the stick diagram, one step closer to the layout. Sorry, and this helps to plan the layout and routing. And next is this is something how we use some rules for the stick diagram, such as those rules are when two or more sticks of the same type crosses or touch each other, then they represent the electrical contact. Okay, two or more sticks of the same type, they represent a electrical contact. And then the rule 2 is that when two or more sticks of the different type crosses or touches each other, there is no electrical contact. If it is touching here, you can see here, if this is touching, that is there is no electrical contact. But if I put an if electrical contact is needed, we have to show a connection explicitly. Okay. So here the contact we have provided. And then some more rules, like when a polysilicon crosses a diffusion, it represents a transistor. That's true, because when we draw that, I'll let you know how this transistor is actually formed. Okay, the rule 4 is that in CMOS, demarcation lines is drawn to avoid touching of the P diffusion and the N diffusions. So that is what it is showing here. To avoid touching of P and N diffusion, we use a demarcation lines, and all PMOS must lie on one side of the line, and all NMOS to the other side. This is what the rule 4 is, and this is how it is showing a simple, like this is a black and white, and this is how they use a stick diagram here. In this stick diagram, the source and drain, this is as because these are N diffusions, that is shown with the green, and this is a polysilicon gate which is representing with red. Okay, and here also the source drain, the complete, this is an N diffusion and polysilicon is passing through it. So here we could see the simple example of an NMOS inverter. So here I have a depletion type NMOS transistor, and here I have an enhancement MOSFET. So the depletion representation is something like this. Okay, before that, this both the gates, it is representing with the polysilicon. Okay, and then as it is a N type, this showing here as a N diffusion, and for the VDD and ground, that is shown with the blue, and these are the contacts. Okay, so now it is very simple that the gate is shorted here, and then here it is showing as a output. So a simple, so here the polysilicon is now passing through the diffusion layer. So either as we know that both source and drain regions can be interchanged, so here what we are doing, we are this is drain and this is source, and here this can be source and this is drain. Okay, so here I can write it here as drain and source, and drain, uh, sorry, source and drain. So as these two are drains, it is shorted here, taking a output contact there, and here it is a V in for the enhancement mode, and this is how we represent it for the, and this is how we represent it for the depletion MOSFET. So here I'll show you an example how we can draw a stick diagram. So for example, I'm taking A dot B, A dot B. Okay, suppose I'm taking A dot B bar. Here, this assume that this is an uh, expression or this is an equation. Okay, so now if I want to draw for this stick diagram, then how will I draw? Okay, if it is a dot, if it is a dot, then we simply say for PMOS, it will be the transistors will be in parallel connection. So how the parallel connection is actually happening means, first let me yes, let me draw, yes, just a minute. First, let me draw this supplies metal things. Okay, and then I'm now trying to draw. Okay, how actually the circuit represents, that I'll show you. Before I draw this, I'll just show you how it represents the circuit. So it is something like we have in this way. Okay, we are designing A dot B bar. Okay, right? This is for the PMOS. Okay, this is for the PMOS, representing that this is A. Okay, PMOS A, and this is PMOS. Oh, sorry. Okay, this is PMOS B. This is PMOS B, and this is A. But this is NMOS A, right? This is NMOS A, and this is NMOS B. This is NMOS B, right? And this is grounded. This is grounded. We say GND, GND, right? And here it is a supply where we say VDD, VDD. Right, this is how a representation of the circuit means. We are now representing this A dot B in the MOS transistor. So now this also we are representing with an inverter, right? We are taking inverter into account. That means inverter means here CMOS circuit. By using a CMOS circuit, we are designing A dot B stick diagram, right? So now what I do with this, first I'll draw polysilicon. Okay, first I'll draw this polysilicon, right? This is a polysilicon. Okay, polysilicon for A and B. Then I take green, sorry, I take yellow for the P diffusions. Okay, and I take green for the N diffusion. Okay, so now my four transistors I could see here: transistor 1, transistor 2, 3 and 4, and these are the, this is VDD and this is ground. This represents the ground and this represents the VDD. So now I formed here a four transistors with the inputs A, B, right? And now I need to connect before I connect, before I do some connections, here we need to know these are inputs, but where will be my output? My output will be somewhere here, right? I'm taking my output here. So if I'm taking my output here, I need to know always the PMOS will be the VDD of the PMOS, the VDD for the PMOS, it will be connected to the source. So this is now source, right? This is source and this is drain, correct? And the same way for the NMOS, this is now source, this is drain, okay? And now again, here you have a source and here it is drain, right? That means both the drains are shorted and then we are taking the output from here, right? So this is we are saying that this is an output. Okay, so this is how we are defining its source, gate and drain. That means source, gate and drain terminals we are first representing it. Therefore, now what we do? We simply so what we do, we again look into the circuit, how we are drawing it. The A dot B means we will first draw, we will represent first this circuit in by using a CMOS, and then we will draw its layout. So first let me draw this circuit diagram by using CMOS. The diagram is something like this. We take first the pull-up transistors, that is PMOS, and later we use pull-down transistors, that is NMOS. Okay, so here I'm drawing the PMOS. This is the term B, input B, and here I'm representing input A. Okay, here I'm representing input A, and this is now connected to VDD. This is now connected to VDD. So this I am saying that it is source, drain, mm, something like drain. Okay, that means now both sources are now shorted to the VDD, and both the drains will now connect to the pull down transistor, that is NMOS. So something, and now finally this will be grounded. Okay, so now I'm saying that this is a drain, this is source of this transistor, and again this is drain, and again this is source. That means always for the PMOS the source is connected to the VDD, and always the source of NMOS transistor is connected to the ground. So again this is input A and this is input B. Okay, and I take my output somewhere from here, right? So this is a simple representation of A dot B. In this way, if I am writing A dot B, if I use, means if I change the what you call sign, if I change the sign means here I am using A dot B. If I use A plus B, means that means if I change the logic, then this connections will also get changed. Okay, so suppose if I use A plus B, then the both the transistors of PMOS will be in series, and then the transistors of PMOS will be in parallel. That means this is exactly opposite to this. Okay, the A plus B will be exactly opposite connection to this. So now what we do, for this circuit we will be drawing a stick diagram. So as we know, for the polysilicon we are using red, and uh, for the P diffusion I'll be using yellow, and for the N diffusion I'll be using a green, and black I'll be using for the contacts, and for the metal I'll be using the blue. So now what I do, I'll now draw uh, first now I'll draw the stick diagram. That is, first I'm drawing the metals. Okay, first I'm drawing the metals by using blue color, and then I for the PMOS, I'm in order to show PMOS I'm drawing, this is a P diffusion, and to show NMOS transistor, and this is the N diffusion. Okay, so now the N diffusion, P diffusion, everything is done, and the metals is also done. And now I'll be drawing the polysilicon. As we know, polysilicon is mainly used for the contacts. So polysilicon is mainly used for the interface. So what we are doing, we have simply now we have formed a transistors. This is one transistor, this is one transistor, this is one, and this is one. So totally, as we have four, 1 2 3 4, the same way we have now connected, we have now just drawn the all the four transistors. But one more thing here is that we are supposed to also write the uh, source and drain regions, because now both these sources are shorted. So I can simply say this can be my source, and this it can be my source, and this I'll be taking it as a drain, and this I'll be taking it as a drain, right? So now to this complete transistor I have represented the gate, source, and drain terminal. Coming to the pull down network, pull down transistor. So now uh, this both, here the source and drain is shorted, so I take here like source, and this is my drain. So obviously this will be my source, and sorry, and this will be my drain. So here you need to observe one thing, that both the drains of PMOS and the one of the transistor in NMOS drain, these three are getting shorted. So in that case what I do, I use a contact, right? I use a contact here, right? Again I'll be using one contact here, right? So I make these two contacts shorted, right? And then again I'll be taking another contact here, right? And then again I'm shorting it. That means this portion we have already done by doing this, right? This is done, and this seems to be our output. Okay, this is our output. So this part is done. Now here both the sources are shorted. So now what I do, I take a contact here, and I'll be connecting it to the VDD. So this connection is done, means this connection is done. Up to here we have completed, right? Now coming to the pull down network, here first B. Okay, this we are assuming it as a, and this we are assuming it as a B. So now for B input, for the transistor, as we are giving a B input for that source, this is now shorted to the V ground. Sorry, this is ground. This I'll represent it as a ground, GND. Okay, this is ground and this is VDD. Okay, VDD. Or either in either way you can represent either the uppercase or lowercase, no matter what it is. Okay, so here this we have done, and this also we have made it a short. See, this also we made it as short, right? So finally this drain and these two drains are shorted and we are showing it as an output. So this is how we draw the stick diagram. Okay, so for further we have few more examples. So students, now you have a question. Okay, so we have seen like A dot B bar, right? A dot B bar, and we have seen that the stick diagram of it. But now here is a question that how will I design A plus B bar by using a CMOS circuit? Okay, so how it looks actually? How it looks? At least I want the design of the circuit of A plus B bar. The equation is A plus B bar, and then the question is that how you will design this A plus B bar. Okay, by using a CMOS circuit. So what I do, I'll give you 60 seconds time. Just go through and design it. Okay, your time starts now. Yes. So the question was very clear, right? For A plus B bar. So it is that, let me design it. Okay. Question was A plus B bar, right? A plus B bar. So it is something like I'm drawing a PMOS. PMOS is now in series. Okay. PMOS is now in series with the NMOS, as you know, right? And now NMOS is in parallel. Okay, sorry. Yes. Right. This is what? This is VDD. Okay. This is this is VDD, and let me put this is GND, G, GND, right? And this is NMOS A, like input A, right? And this is another NMOS, this is B, right? Both the sources are grounded. Both the sources are grounded, and drain, across drain we are taking the output, right? This is something we are saying output. Okay, and this is my PMOS B, terminal input B, and this is my another PMOS, which is A. Okay, so this is how we design a circuit, CMOS circuit, for A plus B bar. So in the previous we have seen A dot B, and now it is A plus B. Okay, and we have designed a NAND gate by using a NMOS transistor. As for the NMOS transistor, we have used the depletion as well as the enhancement mode N type. Therefore, using those circuit diagram, we have designed the NAND gate. You can refer it for the further things. Okay, so this is how we designed it for the NOR gate and for the XOR gate. So and XNOR, then the P inverter, then PMOS NAND, PMOS NOR, etc. Okay, this is how we are showing how to draw a stick diagram. Okay, so the overall discussion here is that finally we have studied the VLSI design flow, what all it requires, means from the specifications till the chip formation, like the front end and the back end, what all the process we are doing in the front end and what all process in the back end we have looked into those all, and then next we have studied the minimization techniques and the challenges. Those all we have gone through, and after that we have studied the stick diagram design, the lambda rules, and how to design, what the contact, the colors, what is the stick diagram and how it is representing, and if I'm using a color coding, what sort of colors need to be used for the various layers. Those all we have observed, and finally with one example we have observed that how to draw a stick diagram. So this is the so here I'll end up this session. Okay, yeah, thank you.